So, are you tired of just feeding money into those expensive third-party AI APIs? I mean, what if you could actually own your AI? We're talking about a proprietary model, one that's built specifically for your business, giving you way more security, all for a fraction of the cost. Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into today. How engineering teams are pulling this off by training their very own open-source large language models.
All right, so first things first, let's really break down the hidden costs that come with relying on these external APIs. A lot of businesses, they're kind of stuck in this trap, right? They're just paying and paying for this generic AI, but the real cost, oh, it goes way beyond that monthly bill. This is about making a huge strategic shift from being just another customer to actually becoming an owner of your own AI.
And look at this number. For a lot of companies out there, $50,000 a month. That is a painfully real figure. It's this massive recurring bill that just shows up every single month, all for access to a generic one-size-fits-all model. It's a cost that builds zero equity for you. It just keeps you locked in, totally dependent on someone else's technology.
But honestly, that API bill, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The real costs are all the hidden operational headaches. We're talking about the constant risk of sending your sensitive data out to some third party, or fighting with these generic responses that just don't get your business. And, oh man, the thousands of hours wasted on prompt engineering just trying to coax the model into doing what you want. And let's not forget the risk of catastrophic forgetting, where the model just loses its specialized knowledge. It's a minefield.
Okay, so if the old API model is clearly broken, what's the alternative? Well, the great news is that there's been a complete revolution in efficiency, and it's made building your own model a truly realistic option for the first time ever for most teams. So how do we get here? Let's take a look at the breakthroughs that made this possible. You know, it's kind of crazy to think that just a few years ago, back in 2023, training a large model meant you needed a multi-million-dollar server farm. It was completely out of reach. But then, the game completely changed in 2024 with the invention of these amazing parameter-efficient techniques, especially one called QLoRa. This was the breakthrough that let us train these massive models using just a tiny fraction of the resources. I mean, we went from needing a whole cluster of A100s to being able to fine-tune on a single GPU. And that brings us to today, what I'd call the production era, where open-source tools have made this tech accessible to pretty much everyone. So this incredible shift in technology has basically created a whole new playbook. A practical, step-by-step guide that any skilled engineering team can actually use today. So let's get into the good stuff, the how-to for building your very own AI asset. Okay, so at the very heart of this entire revolution is this one technology I mentioned, QLoRa. And the genius of it is, well, it's pretty brilliant. Instead of having to retrain an entire massive model, which is just insanely expensive, you freeze the original model, you don't touch it. And you only train this tiny new set of adapter weights. Think of it like adding a very specific, specialized skill to an expert's brain without having to make them go through med school all over again. Yeah, here's a great way to think about it. Full fine-tuning. That's like trying to retrain a world-class brain surgeon right from scratch. It's slow, it's expensive, and honestly, it's a huge waste. But QLoRa? That's like handing that already brilliant surgeon a brand new, highly specialized toolkit. You get the expert results you're looking for, but you get them surgically and way more efficiently. So the whole process, when you boil it right down, really just comes down to 3 key steps. First, you got to prepare your data. You take all that raw corporate data and structure it into clean instruction response pairs. Second, you run the actual fine-tuning using a framework with QLoRa, training those efficient adapter weights on your custom data. And finally, step 3, you deploy it. You put the model securely behind your own corporate firewall where you have complete and total control. Now, this is a really crucial point. You have to know which tool to use for the job. So if all you need to do is change the model's knowledge, like, say, feeding it the latest company documents or facts, then a technique called RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation, is perfect. It basically just connects the model to a database. But if you need to change the model's core behavior, we're talking its tone, its style, its very personality, or how it follows complex rules, then fine-tuning is absolutely the way to go.
And the tools for this? They have gotten so much better. I mean, gone are the days of having to write these messy, super complex, error-prone Python scripts just to get something to work. Today, modern developers are using frameworks like Axolotl, where you can define your entire training job in a simple, clean, declarative YAML file. It's way more repeatable and just better.
All right, so this brings us to a really important strategic decision. You have to choose your training battlefield, so to speak. Are you going to build out your own local hardware to run this stuff? Or are you going to use a managed cloud service? It's the classic build versus buy debate, right? So let's break down the trade-offs here. So if you go the local route with something like Axolotl, you get maximum control and security. And for some industries, that's non-negotiable. But it comes with a high upfront cost for the hardware, and you need some serious DevOps and CUDA skills on your team. On the other hand, you've got managed cloud platforms. These let you just pay per job, no big upfront cost, no setup headaches. It makes it incredibly easy to get started, without needing a whole infrastructure team. So let's say you've done it. You've gone through the playbook, you've picked your infrastructure, and you've successfully trained your very own model. What's the payoff? What's the ultimate reward for all that effort? Well, this is the payoff. And it's so much more than just saving money on an API bill. You're creating proprietary capabilities that your competitors just can't replicate. You drastically lower your inference costs to practically zero. You get 100% data privacy and security. You gain incredible domain-specific accuracy for your technical tasks. And maybe most importantly, you move from being a customer to being an asset owner. And look, this isn't just some niche idea floating around. The consensus from industry experts is crystal clear. As this quote says, fine-tuning open-source LLMs is the fastest path to production-grade performance and lower inference costs. It's quickly becoming the new standard for anyone building serious AI applications. And you can see this playing out in the real world, especially in super-regulated sectors like medicine. Think about it. A custom model can analyze complex medical charts running on a local HIPAA-compliant server and do it in milliseconds. That's a level of speed, security, and accuracy that would be literally impossible to achieve with a generic, public API. So the big takeaway here is really clear. The technology to build your own powerful, proprietary AI, it's not some far-off dream anymore. It's here. It's accessible. The tools have matured, and the strategic advantages are just massive. So as you think about all this, remember, your competition is already building their own AI, which leaves just one question. What's your next move?